Aloha everyone, this is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul. I'm a mindset coach here, and I am here for my Leimomi TV interview series of Mastering Your Soul's Gifts. And we are going to share about, some really cool tips and tools and stuff from our beautiful Jessica Reid here. So I'm so excited that you took some time to share with us your amazing genius. So why don't you first tell us about who you are, what you do. How did you really become a genius, right, at what you do today?
So, I mean, it's something that I've been doing since I was a little toddler. My parents have told me about certain things that I used to do and say, and in terms of my intuitive gifts. And I do remember a lot of things in terms of what I would see and what I would experience and feel. And feeling like I couldn't quite understand it because I'd pick up on, energies around my home and just certain messages or certain perceptions on the world that other people weren't kind of grasping. And I used to always just be asking my dad, how did the earth start? What's at the end of the universe? All these kind of really, I guess, cosmic questions. I don't know how to answer those questions for you. And so I was always kind of the odd kid, and my mum always said that I was from another planet. And then when I went to school, I started realizing that what I thought was natural wasn't what everyone else is experiencing. So I kind of started blocking it out because, when you go to school, you just want to fit in. You don't want to be the weird kid. You don't want to be with the cool kids. So I started blocking it out all my school years. And then when I was 18, I decided that university wasn't for me, that I just wasn't feeling drawn to studying anything in particular. So I moved with my partner from New Zealand to Australia because there were certain job opportunities and just things that were there available for us to kind of set up a successful life. And so we did that, and we had, a huge brand new house beyond our means. We had, nice cars, a dog, full-time jobs, everything like that. And I kind of just was slowly realizing that I was looking around thinking this isn't it, I mean, ever since I was a little girl, I've always had this vision for who I came here to be. And when I was looking at that life, I was just this just isn't it. And it's really kind of comfortably numb. Do you know what I mean by that? It's you can have all the things, but you feel and you feel comfortable, but you're numb inside, and you just feel it's not giving you what you thought your life would feel like in terms of fulfillment. And so I was going through that kind of comfortably numb stage. And then it was literally overnight, my soul got to a point where, my soul, my spirit team, source energy, it's there was just an overnight decision to say okay, you've done this, you've done what, humanity has told you to do in terms of setting up an achievable life. And you've realized that it's not what you're here to do. And so literally overnight, all of my gifts that I had as a child came back. It was the channels that I'd been blocking off were blasted open, and I wasn't able to block them out anymore. And so if you can imagine overnight, going back to having clairvoyance and seeing all these things, clairaudience and hearing things, getting messages, clairsentience and empathy, and just feeling everything from everyone in all your surroundings, and just everything that was going on, and knowing certain things. So I went in a complete state of overwhelm and anxiety, because if you can imagine that all happening overnight and just this infinite information coming through, the mind is just what is going on, and it can't handle that level of information and energy and overwhelm. So I went to, doctors and people, saying something's happened to me overnight, and I can barely breathe because there was just so much going on. And I was just called like a hypochondriac, which I'm sure like a lot of intuitive people can relate to in terms of going to doctors. And highly empathic people can relate to, because doctors see it as like hypochondriac, and there's nothing actually going on. And I got given like asthma inhalers and antidepressants to try and like fix what I was experiencing. And all of that, once I kind of got home and I had all of that in my hands, I was just looking at it, and it was like my soul just kind of giggled and was like, no, like this is not it. And so I threw it all away. And started seeing like clairvoyance and having readings and learning meditation. I read like every Hay House book that I just started like absorbing all this information. And it wasn't like reading it for the first time either. It was like I'd just read these books and barely even have to read all of the book. It would just be like the main points that would kind of just download what I already knew on a soul level, and it started activating on a human kind of like consciousness level. And it just, as I kept picking everything up, I started learning again how to utilize my gifts as I did as a child. And once that all started coming into place, the anxiety and the overwhelm just kind of fizzled out, because my mind could use it, like my mind could work it out and understand what the information energy was here for. And so once I really kind of got to grips with kind of really mastering my energy and controlling the overwhelm and actually utilizing my gifts, I just looked at my life again and was like, this just really isn't going to do. Like, this just isn't it. So I left the relationship, I left the house, sold the cars, rehomed the dog, and moved back from Australia to New Zealand by myself, and just decided to start from scratch on a soul level and just say, like, what is my soul's purpose? Like, what am I here to do? Because I know it's not working for anyone else or doing what society tells me to do. Like, there's something I'm here to do. And so starting that, I think 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, starting that just kind of brought everything into place and got, activating where my genius was best utilized. And so here I am now, doing my soul consciousness readings and like group courses and coaching and online courses and so on, and being able to work from Bali or wherever in the world. So it's definitely been a huge blessing in disguise, even though it was the hardest point in my life. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love the change that it's made.
That's amazing how it was just like overnight.
Yeah.
Like, hello, hallelujah, here's your gifts. What do you do with it now? Okay, now.
And it was hard, but it was the best thing ever.
I think that's kind of what happens when you go on the journey where it's just not working for you anymore, and then you just have to make the decision. Choose, okay, I'm gonna do something totally different. I don't know what it is. It's something unknown and it's scary, but when you actually like just go towards it, right? Like, you just look at yourself in the mirror and you look at the big wall that you've created for yourself, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go right through it. I'm gonna, figure it out as I go, one step at a time. And the more you're present with it, the more you uncover like the deeper things that you're missing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think like a lot of people see it as following your soul when it's kind of an uncertain or unseen road. A lot of people think of it as scary, but I always remind people that it's a lot scarier to stay where you are being unhappy, because that might feel comfortable or like predictable. Like, you could stay there and you could know what that's going to be like for the rest of your life in a sense, but that's scary to know that that's all your life is ever going to be, right? Like, it's scary to know that you're always going to be and so it's kind of like, I find that more scary than trusting your soul and just going for what is mysterious but magic and pulling you toward it.
So now that you've got into your genius, like why is it important for you to cultivating that, right, in order to create a life of success?
Wait, sorry, did you say what was important in creating that?
Yeah, like what, from your perspective of your genius, the way that you see the world now, like why is it important to know, like do those conscious readings and your programs and stuff that you're doing now, like how has that shaped everything, how you think success is for you now?
So like say previously success was like the house and the cars and the dog and that whole setup kind of thing, and now to me like the success is first of all feeling like my soul is free because if my soul is free, then like just that's what is just such like a huge breath of air, and like my soul is free to create whatever she wants to create, and also like success is really like being able to live out what your soul intended to come and live out, because I think of it as in like if we get to the end of our lives and look back and we see that we didn't fulfill what our soul kind of intended to fulfill, that's failure at like the deepest level, if you know what I mean. Like not necessarily like failure because you're infinite and you can you can reincarnate and you can go again, but it would be that feeling of failure, as opposed to if you really lived what your soul came here to really fulfill and share in this world, that would be like the ultimate feeling of success, and also just the impact in this world that it creates when you get all the feedback from people saying how much you've helped them really change their lives and really help them align with their soul and their purpose and their highest path. Like that is so successful. And when it comes to say like financial, even just say like when I was starting out, even just realizing that I could make my own money, even though when I was like in my first week I only made like $40, that $40 was like success to me because I was like I could make my own money and I didn't have to rely on anyone else to create that, and now it's more so the success feeling of being able to work with people that I really want to work with while I get to travel and live in these beautiful locations and just have that freedom to also now really focus on like how can I also contribute back through the success that I create from my business as well. Because I've always, ever since I was little, I've always saw myself as like a person who just enjoys being generous in terms of being able to give back to other people. So that for me is like, I guess personally, the feeling of reaching my success on a personal level as to what really feels fulfilling for me. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's so important to define that. Why I asked that, because I think people forget the importance of defining success and the things that are valuable to us, because that really creates a path. If we don't know what that means for us, then you kind of get stuck.
Definitely. And another thing was like I've always I had always like had this vision of employing my little sister, because my little sister, she's like my little angel, and I've always wanted to be able to like employ her and give her the opportunity to co-create with me and work with me, and to be like provide for her as well, because she's got a little a baby, my nephew, as well. So like for me, that's just like really fulfilling to be able to also like take care of her like that big sister in that way as well. So yeah, I think everyone has like different ways of which that they really define their success and what feels fulfilling for them and what just what it means to you personally. I think that's so important, so that you've got like a real kind of like aligned why as to everything that you're doing, as opposed to like an egotistical why or an egotistical like drive, because I think people especially nowadays, like people feel that and they don't want to work with you if they can feel that it's an egotistical focus, right? Like if people are like really strong on their vibes these days. And so if you're like doing it from that soul aligned space, they're going to feel it and they're going to be drawn to you, and they're going to know that they're investing in someone that's doing like light work in this world, and that their money's being put to like good use, you know what I mean? As opposed to just investing in someone who's doing it for material gains or reasons and so on. Because you get, even if you don't know the whole story, you just get that right, like soul aligned intentions or the right why. So I think that's another thing, is as well as like defining success, is like really making sure that what you're doing is you're doing it for a purpose, and that other people are going to be able to feel those vibes, because you're going to do yourself such a disservice by having like just like misaligned reasons for what you're doing, because people are going to feel it and they're going to be like completely detracted from you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important for like whatever you're doing in your life to actually come from that place, and remember that you are, your soul. So the more you connect with your soul, the more that, of course, there's always going to be an ego part of you wanting certain things, or desire things, but really, what's most your priority, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think like as long as you're really embodying your soul in everything you do, then you'll know like what it is that you have to offer. You'll know what it is that is your reason why. You'll know what success is for you, and you'll know you'll just know all aspects of it when you really embody your soul. And also, again, like people will feel that if you embody your soul and your purpose within everything that you're doing, people are going to know that you're really kind of coming from that right space, and they're going to be really drawn to you, because your energy is going to be like magnetic when it's coming from that space of soul embodiment, I believe, anyway.
Can you walk us through some tools or things that you do with your clients, or how you start to embody yourself?
So for me, it's like a really fun process in terms of like, there's definitely like the I guess like really like sacred or like serious aspects to it, in terms of like really kind of tuning in really deeply, but I also have like a really fun focus with it. So of course there's like the meditation aspects of things, of like really tuning into your soul's energy, frequency, and vibration, because I think that's like the real baseline or the real foundation of embodying your soul, is really discovering like what is that energy, frequency, and vibration that my soul resonates at. Because most people would say like, I don't know, like, I don't know what the energy, frequency, and vibration of my soul is. But first of all, discovering that and really knowing that. So knowing whether it's like a really like I like to visualize it in a way of like the colors of it. Like for me, I always see like soft pinks and light blues and a little bit of like light purples, and just like really kind of soft, kind of feminine, loving energies, and very kind of like playful, kind of giggly, like just really like knowing your soul's energy, frequency, and vibration, and learning to like every day, whether it's in your meditation or whether it's when you go for a walk, or whether it's your yoga, or whether it's like dancing around your room, like get in that energy, frequency, and vibration of your soul until like just tune into it until you feel that resonance. Like I find it becomes very clear, even if you can't explain it, but it becomes very clear when you feel like you're in alignment with your soul, because you just feel so good. Like you just feel yourself, and you just feel like you're really embodying your soul. And then I would like encourage a lot of journaling, in terms of I find like the self-love practice is really powerful for soul embodiment, because it's like you're really embodying, like loving every part of your soul. So I would encourage people to like journal like everything that they love about their soul, and their energy, and their presence, and their essence, like again, like really defining what that is for them personally, and just really kind of really like discovering it, and just like consciously every day making those decisions from a place of like, what would my soul choose, or what would my soul do in this situation, or how would my soul interact with this other human being? You know, like everything coming from a place of how would my soul be most fulfilled and joyful in each, you know, moment. Because I think like we can get so far away from our soul by all the human conditionings and human kind of like thoughts and separation and egotistical things. But if we keep going back to like, what would my soul choose, or what would make my soul most happy in this moment, is really kind of like consciously making that switch over to embodying your soul. And then also like going further with it in terms of, are you listening to your soul every day? Like, are you getting intuitive downloads, and are you listening to them? Are you trusting them? If you're feeling inspired on a soul level, are you following through with the actions rather than just kind of like, you know, switching it off to the side and just saying, oh, that's just a nice little dream. You know what I mean? Like, are you really like embodying your soul and letting it be the leader and the one who guides you, and are you just having fun in being a soul in a human experience, and letting yourself chill, you know? So that for me is like the simplicity of soul embodiment. You can go into lots of kind of deep layers of it, but that for me is like, yeah, the simplicity of it and the fun of it as well.
I love that approach. It's very feminine, right? It's like,
yeah,
like into it and going deeper, and then allowing to come out like, you know, like a flower blossoming.
Yeah.
Process. Like, you have to allow yourself to go through that.
Yeah, and it can be so much fun in terms of like just rediscovering what you actually want to do in every way. Like, say for instance, a lot of us are like conditioned as to like how we're supposed to dress when we get up in the morning, you know, like society is like given this impression upon us as to like, what's the latest fashion, or, you know, like what are ways that you're supposed to either hide or illuminate your body, or, you know, all these kind of like conditionings. But I find it fun sometimes to just wake up in the morning and be like, what does my soul want to wear today? Like, what is she, like, does she want to put some glitter on her face, or you know, like, what does she want? How does she want to dress up? Like, forget about society or what everyone else thinks. Like, how do I want to like express myself through my clothing, whether it be your makeup or your hair or accessories, or, you know, just like all those things. And also like you can apply it to like eating. Like, what does my soul feel like? What is my soul craving? Like, what does it want? You know, what do I want to eat? And forgetting about like diets and restrictions and all that kind of stuff, and just like being really soul embodied in everything that you do, and just always asking your soul like, what would be the most fun thing to do in each situation. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's so important to come from that place, because your soul knows everything. It's just that you may not have been listening, you may not have been acting upon the things that your soul really does want to do. I like that, because it's, I always ask myself that question too, like, what do I want to experience today? I'm really being in that present moment. Like, I just want to sleep in bed, or I want to go for a walk, and like just doing it because that's just the way your soul wants to like create something physical, or whether it's just you know, giving a hug to somebody, allowing.
I think that has I think that has a lot to do with also how we interact as like human beings as well, because, you know, like we're very conditioned to be like separated, or very conditioned to be like you know what I mean? It's like we're very conditioned as to how we're supposed to treat each other or judge each other and all that kind of stuff. And I think most people can notice that sometimes you can just feel your soul just wanting to like just run up with someone, just give them a hug because you just love their energy, or you just like you know, you want to just walk past someone and be like, you're really good today, or like your soul just wants to spread love. And you'll find that being more conditioned to be like, to not do those things, you know what I mean? Because it's like It might be conditioned to not like make comments for other people because they might shut you down and they might think you're weird, or or it's been conditioned to like not go and give a stranger a hug, but when you like really embody your soul, you start just being straight from that love consciousness, and rather than judging people, there's more of like a compassion towards like, okay, that person's, you might kind of, how sometimes we walk past people and we'll be like, oh, that person's in like a really negative vibe. And that's like more the human judgment. But on a soul level, you might find that your soul's like, oh, like maybe they just got broken up with today. Or, maybe they just found out some really bad news. I actually just want to go give them a hug, rather than judging them for being in like a negative vibe. And just all those little things, I feel like embodying your soul is just so much more fun. It's so much more loving, and it's so much more just fulfilling on all levels, and it just gravitates so much more blessings in your life because you're really putting that out there, which is just, the law of attraction. I think if you're operating from your soul's energy, frequency, and vibration, that's like one of the best places to be in terms of law of attraction, because you're not only manifesting, but you're manifesting what is actually aligned for you on a soul level, as opposed to just what you want on different levels. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think your own soul embodiment is the most powerful magnet for you.
So what advice would you give someone who hasn't really gotten to it yet as you have, and like what helped you decide to really do that work, right, to be in love and create that soul line life and business, that become an expert in your industry? Like, what advice would you give to someone starting out?
Yeah, so I do have a lot of people that will ask like for help in terms of discovering their purpose and what they're really here to do, and what is their zone of their genius and everything. There are like a few different ways that I approach it. Obviously one-on-one, it's more of an intuitive approach, but I guess like in general, certain ways would be to really tune into your inner child. Because a lot of the time, the inner child she's like got that connection to your soul, and she knows what you're here for, and she'll like think about it, daydream about it, really be in that space about it. And then certain, like, as you grow older, human conditionings tell you to not have those certain desires because they're not logical, or they're not, they're not what your father did or your mother did, or blah, blah, blah. So I would first like tune into your inner child and just think back to when you felt most free and free from like the human conditionings. What was it that you really desired? Because I remember really vividly as a child just kind of not necessarily knowing what the particular things were that I was here to do in terms of like on a practical level, but I knew the woman that I was here to be. I could feel the essence of like who I was here to be, and also notice from a young age and as you're growing up, like who is it that inspires you? Because I remember when I first met clairvoyant. I didn't clairvoyant when I grew up, but when I met that clairvoyant, I just remember seeing her and just being like, wow, like she's just everything to me, if you know what I mean. Like I don't know what it was about her, but she just inspired me, and she just made me feel so like excited. And I just looked at her and I don't know if I thought particularly that I wanted to like be her or have like her life necessarily, but it was just similar to that. Like, and you'll find throughout your life people that really inspire you or draw to you. Like that's like a message. That's like a key point for you discovering your genius, your gifts, your purpose. Because otherwise, why else would they inspire you? Why else would you be drawn to them? Like there's a connection in there. And also, I would look at, there's like a common pattern that happens where people that have certain like struggles or challenges in their life, they often end up discovering that was the seed of their purpose. So say, for example, I was working with a client, and she for 8 years was struggling with infertility. And it was just this huge journey, like,
Oh, I can hear you. Did you get cut off? Oh, for some reason you're frozen. Or am I frozen? Can everybody hear me? Let's see. If you guys can hear me, put something in the comments. We might have gotten cut off a bit. Let's see. Maybe Jessica got stuck. And it frozen. Or did I freeze up? I hope not. She was telling a beautiful story. Let's see. Oh, yep. For some reason she got frozen. So yeah, if everybody, really, really loved what she was sharing, just put a little emoji or something inside the comments. And if you guys have any questions for her, for sure, even if you're listening to the replay, put something in the comments. Is totally fine. It will answer any of your questions that you may be having. I like how she was sharing a lot about how to really embody your soul, and like it becomes like a daily practice, a thing that you're continuously doing, right, without thinking about it. and getting to a point where you're just in this flow and you're like understanding how you can operate from that inner child and what's really fun for you. And Jessica actually had an amazing special gift for everyone here that's listening in. You can go to her website at www.jessicareidonline.com. It was actually right in the video comments here. And she said right at the very beginning of the page, there is her free gift to us. So it's there, jessicareidonline.com. And hopefully, and she might not be able to get on in time, but thank you so much for listening in. And we had an amazing talk on just this amazing topic about really embodying your soul. So again, if you guys have any questions, or if you really feel that you want to know more information, then reach out to Jessica for any help in this. And of course, I help with soul alignment and aligning to your soul and finding that unique way. What is your unique soul's blueprints to get to where you want to go in life, and finding and creating the dream business that you're meant to create. And you can always, of course, visit me at www.leimomikeliikuli.com, and I share more about these other tips too. Oh, there you are. Yay. We got a little frozen. Can you hear us? I can hear you. Can you hear me? For some reason it's frozen, maybe on her end, but we're still recording. Can you hear me? It's probably maybe her internet is not that great.
Oh,
there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. My computer overheated, so I had to jump onto my phone.
Oh gosh. Okay, I was like, oh no, we lost you. So I actually shared about your free gift
Cool.
with your website, and it's at the top here. If you have any other last words that you want to share with us, because that was just an amazing share that you're talking about. Any last words?
I just finished the story that I was about to share in terms of like a client that I worked with, and she had struggled with infertility for 8 years, and then we had a session talking about like how she was kind of feeling like she just didn't have a purpose in life. She thought it was to have children, but it wasn't happening for her, and she wanted to be fulfilling something. Like she wanted to be purposeful, and so we talked about like what her journey was so far and what her struggles were, and what she discovered from her struggles. And I said to her, like, how would you feel if you were to be the woman that is there for other women who are experiencing infertility on like an emotional level, because what she noticed through her journey was that there was plenty of, you know, like medical offerings and like alternative offerings like acupuncture and all those kind of things to like get her pregnant, but no one was there to say like be there for her emotional journey, because she had her husband, but like she was saying, like unless you've been through it yourself as a woman, you just can't really understand the depth of the emotion that you go through, and like just there's so many layers to it. And we were saying, like, what if you were to be that woman who was there for women along their infertility journeys for an emotional coaching level, to help them feel like someone's hearing them and knowing what they're going through. And she just lit up. She was just like, how did I never even think of this? You know, like she just thought like that would be the most heart-centered, purposeful thing that I could do for other women in this world, because it's the one thing that I'm most connected to, and the one thing that I know all about, you know. So, and the idea of her helping them feel like they were taken care of and nurtured through that experience was just the most amazing like idea for her. So that's when she really started her business with them being like a fertility support coach. So just as an example, you can look at what have been your struggles, and would you want to be like, how would it feel for you on a soul level to be the person that you were always looking for others? And oftentimes people are like, yeah, like that's exactly what I want to help people with, because it's the one thing that I'm really connected to. And for them, it's also so fulfilling because they can see that their struggle was for a reason, and for a purpose, and that it highlighted something for them rather than it just being just a challenge, you know? So that was just the other thing that I was going to share. But yeah, I've loved talking with you and sharing together, and I just encourage everyone to remember that they have a purpose and that it's in their soul, and they can find it not by looking all out there, but it's within them, and that your soul has pretty much got you sorted. You know, like if you just tap into your soul, you'll realize that she's got your back, and she's going to guide you if you just are willing to trust and listen and follow. So yeah, that's what I'd like to share today.
Oh, thank you so much for finishing this story.
Yeah.
That is so important to know that you can actually help people with the struggles that you really go through, because we think that it's just, you know, some story, or, you know, not something very important, but it can actually be something much more bigger than what you can think that it is at the moment. And it's good that she found
Definitely.
that was the thing that was really that lit her up, that made her the most happiest, and now she can do that for a living and have fun with that.
Yeah, definitely. And just so everyone knows, with the free soul guidance bundle, you get a free card reading, you get a channeling, and you get a video training all about, you know, finding your soul purpose and manifesting it and everything like that. So yeah, really excited for you all to receive that as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you for taking time with us to share your amazing, amazing stuff that you
Thank
do. And so for everybody else listening in, we're going to again have another interview series. And actually, we're coming to the end of the year, so things is going to shift a lot for also me and my business. And I'm pretty sure you too, right, Jessica?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm excited.
So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the interview series after this, but I feel like it's good to be, you know, more tailored for my clients. But I'm so happy that you were able to come on and give us some time to share about your amazing genius. And I hope everybody else, if you have any other questions, again, put in the comments, and we'll answer your questions. All right. Well, you guys all have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Aloha.
Thank you so much. Bye.